That sure is a cute little devil you tried to pick up in the station today, Big Daddy.
Try. Looks like I have. Come on, man, let's play.
For more than 50 years, Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman were seen as one of Hollywood's most admired couples. Their marriage survived fame, pressure, and personal struggles. But after Newman's death in 2008, many people noticed something unexpected about Woodward's life. Behind the grief, there was also a feeling that surprised many fans. New details about their relationship, Newman's final years, and the challenges they faced reveal a side of their story that the public rarely saw. Join us as we uncover the untold story of Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's relationship, the struggles they faced, and the truth behind this surprising chapter of their lives. Paul Newman's early life. Before Paul Newman became one of Hollywood's most respected actors, he was just a young man trying to understand where he belonged. Long before the fame, awards, and legendary performances, Newman's early life was shaped by family, war, personal struggles, and a search for purpose. Paul Leonard Newman was born on January 26, 1925, in Shaker Heights, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland. He grew up in a comfortable middle-class household with his parents, Arthur and Teresa Newman. His father owned a successful sporting goods store, which provided the family with financial stability. However, Paul was never someone who simply followed the path expected of him. From a young age, he showed signs of independence and curiosity, often questioning rules and looking for his own direction. His mother, Teresa, played an important role in shaping his interest in performance. She loved the arts and encouraged Paul to explore acting, even when it was not considered a traditional career choice. As a child, Newman participated in school plays and developed an early interest in performing. However, acting was not immediately his main goal. Like many young people of his generation, his life was heavily influenced by the events happening around him. When World War II began, Newman joined the United States Navy after finishing high school. He originally hoped to become a pilot, but a problem with his vision prevented him from entering flight training. Instead, he served as a Navy radioman and rear gunner on aircraft. During his time in the military, Newman experienced the challenges and uncertainty of war. His service exposed him to difficult situations at a young age and helped shape his serious and thoughtful personality. After leaving the Navy in 1946, Newman returned home unsure about what he wanted to do next. Like many veterans, he struggled to adjust to civilian life. He briefly considered taking over his father's business, but he realized that path did not feel right for him. He wanted to find something that matched his interests and allowed him to express himself. Newman eventually enrolled at Kenyon College in Ohio, where he studied drama and became more involved in theater. His passion for acting continued to grow, and after graduation, he decided to pursue the craft professionally. He later trained at the Yale School of Drama and became a member of the famous Actors Studio in New York City. At the Actors Studio, Newman studied alongside some of the most talented performers of the time. He developed his acting style through method acting, focusing on emotional honesty and realistic performances. This training helped him move beyond simply memorizing lines and allowed him to bring more depth to his characters. During this period, Newman was also building a personal life. In 1949, he married his first wife, Jackie MacDonald. The couple had a son, Scott, and Newman became a father while still trying to establish himself as an actor. Balancing family responsibilities with his growing ambitions was not easy. He was still searching for steady work and trying to prove that he belonged in the entertainment industry. Newman's first major Hollywood opportunity came when he signed with Warner Brothers in the early 1950s. However, his beginning in Hollywood was far from easy. His early film roles were limited, and critics often compared him to other young actors rising at the same time. Some people saw him mainly as another handsome newcomer, rather than a serious performer. But before fame arrived, Newman's personal life was about to take a major turn that would change everything. The rise of Paul Newman. After years of struggling to find his place in Hollywood, Paul Newman finally got the opportunity that changed his career. He had spent years training, auditioning, and taking smaller roles, but the industry was still unsure about him. Many saw him as just another young actor with a handsome face. However, Newman was determined to prove that he had much more to offer. His breakthrough came in 1956, when he starred in Somebody Up There Likes Me, a film based on the life of boxer Rocky Graziano. Newman played Graziano, a troubled young man who turned his life around through boxing. The role allowed him to show his emotional range and intense acting style. Instead of simply playing a tough character, Newman brought out the struggles, anger, and vulnerability behind the person. The performance received widespread praise and changed how Hollywood viewed him. Audiences noticed that Newman was not only talented, but also had a unique screen presence. His piercing blue eyes quickly became one of his most recognizable features, but his acting ability was what truly separated him from other stars of the era. After Somebody Up There Likes Me, Newman began receiving more important roles and became one of Hollywood's most promising actors. However, during this same period, his personal life was also about to change forever. While working on the Broadway production of Picnic in 1953, Newman met Joanne Woodward. At the time, Newman was still married to his first wife, Jackie MacDonald. Woodward was an ambitious young actress who shared Newman's passion for acting, and the two quickly developed a strong connection. Their relationship was complicated because Newman was already married and had a family. The feelings between them created a difficult situation, and Newman had to make a major decision about his future. Although their relationship was controversial at the time, Newman and Woodward remained connected as they continued building their careers. In 1958, Newman divorced Jackie MacDonald and married Joanne Woodward. Their marriage attracted significant attention because both were rising stars in Hollywood. However, instead of fully embracing the celebrity lifestyle, they chose to create a more private life, away from the constant attention of the entertainment industry. The couple eventually settled in Connecticut and focused on building a family. They wanted their relationship to be based on their personal connection rather than their Hollywood image. This decision became one of the defining parts of their relationship as they tried to maintain normal family life despite their fame. Professionally, Newman's career continued to grow rapidly. In 1958, he starred in Cat, on a hot tin roof, playing Brick Pollitt, a troubled former athlete dealing with personal pain and family conflicts. The film became a major success and earned Newman his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. A few years later, Newman delivered another unforgettable performance in The Hustler, 1961. As pool player Fast Eddie Felson, Newman portrayed a character filled with ambition, confidence, and personal flaws. The role showed his ability to play complicated characters who were not simply heroes or villains. In 1963, Newman starred in HUD, playing the selfish and rebellious Hud Bannon. The film allowed him to explore darker parts of human nature and further established him as an actor who could handle complex roles. Then, in 1967, he starred as Luke Jackson in Cool Hand Luke, one of his most famous performances. The character's refusal to follow society's rules connected with audiences and became one of the most memorable roles of his career. Throughout these films, Newman developed a reputation for playing characters who were often imperfect. His roles usually featured people with personal struggles, emotional conflicts, or difficult choices. Audiences connected with these characters because Newman brought honesty and depth to them. While Newman's career was reaching new heights, Joanne Woodward was also becoming a respected actress in her own right. She was not simply known as Newman's wife. In 1957, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress for her powerful performance in The Three Faces of Eve, where she portrayed a woman with multiple personalities. Woodward continued building her own successful career while supporting Newman's work. The couple also became frequent collaborators, appearing together in films such as The Long, Hot Summer, 1958, and The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon Marigolds, 1972. Their professional partnership showed that they respected each other's talents and shared a deep connection through their work. By the late 1960s, Paul Newman was no longer viewed as just a promising young actor. He had become one of Hollywood's biggest stars, but behind the success, his personal life still had challenges waiting for him. As Newman's fame grew, the struggles behind his perfect Hollywood image were about to come to light. Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's marriage. When people talk about Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward, their marriage is often remembered as one of the longest-lasting relationships in Hollywood history. At a time when many celebrity marriages ended quickly under the pressure of fame, Newman and Woodward stayed together for more than 5 decades. However, their relationship was not successful because it was perfect. Like any marriage, it had challenges, disagreements, and difficult moments. What made their story different was their commitment to staying together and working through those struggles. After marrying in 1958, Newman and Woodward made a conscious decision to create a life that was separate from the typical Hollywood lifestyle. They were both successful actors, but they did not want their entire relationship to revolve around fame, movie premieres, and public attention. Instead, they focused on building a private family life away from Hollywood's constant spotlight. The couple eventually moved to Westport, Connecticut, where they raised their children in a quieter environment. Newman wanted his family to experience a more normal life, away from the pressure that often came with being a famous actor. Although he continued making films and appearing in public, he tried to keep his personal life protected. Family became one of the most important parts of their relationship. Together, Newman and Woodward raised 3 daughters: Eleanor Nell Newman, Melissa Newman, and Claire Clea Newman. Newman also had 3 children from his first marriage to Jackie McDonald: Alan Scott Newman, Susan Newman, and Stephanie Newman. Blending families was not always easy. Newman became a father while he was still building his career, and balancing his responsibilities as a parent and actor was challenging. His relationship with his oldest son, Scott, was especially complicated, as Newman later admitted that he struggled with being the father he wanted to be, while dealing with his own personal pressures. Despite these difficulties, Newman and Woodward worked hard to create a supportive family environment. They tried to give their children stability while managing the demands of their careers. Woodward often played an important role in keeping the family connected, while Newman continued working to provide opportunities and security for those around him. One of the reasons their marriage lasted so long was their understanding that relationships require effort. Neither Newman nor Woodward ever suggested that their marriage was effortless. They openly acknowledged that they had disagreements and difficult periods, but they believed in continuing to choose each other. Newman famously spoke about his relationship with Woodward by saying that he had no reason to look elsewhere because he already had everything he wanted in his marriage. His comments reflected his belief that commitment was an ongoing decision rather than something that happened automatically. The couple also understood how to separate their professional lives from their personal relationship. They were both successful actors, but they did not allow competition or fame to damage their connection. Instead, they supported each other's careers and respected each other's individual achievements. Their professional partnership became another important part of their bond. Newman and Woodward worked together on several films throughout their marriage, including The Long, Hot Summer, 1958, which was released shortly after they married. Their chemistry on screen was clear, but their connection behind the scenes was equally important. In 1972, they worked together on The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man-in-the-Moon Marigolds, a project that was especially meaningful because Woodward starred in the film while Newman directed it. The experience showed their ability to collaborate while respecting each other's creative choices. Years later, they appeared together in Mr. and Mrs. Bridge, 1990, playing a married couple dealing with changes in their relationship and family life. Their real-life experience helped them bring honesty to their performances. Woodward also played a major role in Newman's career decisions. She often provided advice and encouraged him to take on projects that challenged him creatively. Their relationship was not just based on romance, but also on mutual respect and friendship. However, behind the image of the perfect Hollywood couple, there were real struggles. Newman and Woodward had arguments and disagreements like any other couple. Newman faced the challenges of being a famous actor, including the pressure of public attention and the difficulty of balancing work with family responsibilities. Newman later admitted that fame sometimes made it harder to be the husband and father he wanted to be. His career demanded long hours away from home, and he had to constantly manage the expectations placed on him by Hollywood and the public. Their marriage survived because they were willing to face those problems honestly. They were not a perfect couple, but they were a couple who continued choosing each other through success, challenges, and personal struggles. But behind their decades of happiness, Newman and Woodward also faced painful moments that tested their relationship in unexpected ways. The hidden struggles. For many years, Paul Newman was seen as the picture of a successful Hollywood star. He was talented, respected, handsome, and appeared to have one of the strongest marriages in the entertainment industry with Joanne Woodward. However, behind the public image, Newman faced personal struggles that affected his marriage, family, and own view of himself. While Newman and Woodward remained together for more than 50 years, their relationship was not without difficulties. Like many couples, they experienced challenges that were rarely visible to the public. Some of the biggest struggles came from rumors of infidelity, Newman's battle with alcohol, and the heartbreaking loss of his son, Scott. During the early years of his marriage to Joanne Woodward, Newman faced accusations and reports about relationships outside of his marriage. One of the most discussed incidents involved actress Nancy Bacon. Reports claimed that Newman had an affair with Bacon in the late 1950s, shortly after he married Woodward. The situation created tension because Newman's public image was built around being a devoted husband and family man. Many fans admired his relationship with Woodward and saw them as an example of a successful Hollywood marriage. News and rumors about possible infidelity challenged that image and showed that their relationship had complicated moments behind closed doors. Newman rarely spoke publicly in detail about these situations, but he did acknowledge throughout his life that he was not a perfect person. He understood that fame often created unrealistic expectations, and he admitted that he had made mistakes. Instead of presenting himself as someone without flaws, Newman often described himself as a person who had to constantly work on himself. Another major personal challenge for Newman was his relationship with alcohol. During different periods of his life, Newman struggled with drinking and later admitted that alcohol had affected his personal relationships and decision-making. For a man who was known for his discipline as an actor and race car driver, controlling his drinking became a serious personal battle. His busy career, constant public attention, and emotional pressures contributed to the difficulties he faced. Like many people dealing with similar problems, Newman had to recognize that his habits were affecting more than just himself. Joanne Woodward played an important role during these difficult periods. Their relationship survived because Woodward supported Newman, while also holding him accountable. She was not simply someone who protected his public image. She was someone who challenged him to face his personal problems. However, the greatest tragedy Newman faced came through his son, Scott Newman. Scott, Newman's only son from his first marriage, struggled with addiction and personal issues for many years. Despite having a famous father, Scott faced his own difficulties and found it hard to manage the pressures in his life. In 1978, Scott died at the age of 28 from an accidental overdose involving alcohol and drugs. His death deeply affected Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. For Newman, losing his son became one of the most painful experiences of his life and forced him to reflect on his role as a father. Newman later admitted that he had regrets about his relationship with Scott. He believed that his demanding career and time away from home had affected his ability to be the father he wanted to be. The tragedy made him look more closely at family, responsibility, and the importance of helping others facing similar struggles. Following Scott's death, Newman became heavily involved in supporting addiction recovery programs and organizations that helped young people. He created the Scott Newman Center, an organization focused on preventing drug abuse and helping families affected by addiction. Through this work, Newman tried to turn his personal pain into something that could help others. The loss of Scott also changed Newman's priorities. Although he continued acting and working on different projects, he became more focused on his family, charity work, and using his influence for causes that mattered to him. These personal struggles also changed the way people viewed Newman. For years, many saw him as the ideal Hollywood husband with a successful career and a lasting marriage. However, the reality was more complicated. He was a talented actor and loving family member. But he was also someone who made mistakes and faced personal battles. Newman and Woodward handled public criticism by keeping many private matters away from the spotlight. They rarely allowed outside opinions to define their relationship. Instead, they focused on their family and continued building a life together despite the challenges they faced. Their story showed that even one of Hollywood's most admired couples experienced pain, disagreements, and difficult moments. Newman's life was not just about fame and success. It was also about learning from mistakes and dealing with the consequences of his choices. But as Newman moved forward, he would find new passions and causes that completely changed the direction of his life. The many sides of Paul Newman. While Paul Newman became famous for his acting career, there was much more to his life than movies. Away from Hollywood, Newman discovered passions that shaped his identity and allowed him to make a difference beyond the entertainment industry. From professional racing to business and charity work, he continued exploring new challenges throughout his life. One of the most surprising parts of Newman's life was his passion for racing. Many people knew him as an actor, but few expected him to become a serious professional race car driver. His interest in racing began in the late 1960s, when he attended a driving course while preparing for the film Winning, 1969. Instead of treating it as just research for a movie role, Newman became deeply interested in the sport. Racing gave Newman an opportunity to challenge himself in a completely different environment. He trained seriously, competed in professional events, and earned respect from other drivers. He did not race simply because he was a celebrity. He worked hard to improve his skills and wanted to be judged based on his ability rather than his fame. Newman competed in several major racing events, including the famous 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1979. Driving a Porsche 935, Newman and his team finished second overall, an impressive achievement in one of the world's most difficult endurance races. His racing career continued for decades, even as he grew older. In 2005, at the age of 80, Newman competed in professional racing events, becoming one of the oldest drivers to participate successfully. His dedication to racing showed his competitive nature and his willingness to keep learning new skills. Along with racing, Newman also found major success in the business world. In 1982, he launched Newman's Own, a food company that started with salad dressing and later expanded into products such as pasta sauces, snacks, and beverages. What made the company different was Newman's decision to donate all profits to charity. Instead of using the business only to create personal wealth, he wanted it to support important causes. This idea was unusual at the time and turned Newman's Own into a major example of how business could be connected with helping others. Over the years, Newman's Own donated hundreds of millions of dollars to charities around the world. The money supported organizations focused on children, education, health, and community development. Newman remained personally involved in the company's mission and made sure that its charitable purpose stayed at the center of the business. Newman's commitment to helping others also extended into his humanitarian work. After the tragic death of his son Scott, Newman became especially focused on helping young people and families affected by addiction. He used his influence and resources to support programs that provided assistance and opportunities for children. One of his most important projects was the creation of the Serious Fun Children's Network, originally founded as the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp in 1988. The organization provided free camps and programs for children with serious illnesses and their families. Newman wanted these children to have positive experiences where they could enjoy themselves and connect with others facing similar challenges. Beyond charity work, Newman was also involved in political and social issues. He supported causes related to civil rights, environmental protection, and public responsibility. He was known for using his public platform to speak about issues he believed were important. During this period, Joanne Woodward continued building her own career while supporting Newman's projects. She moved into television work, producing and directing, proving that she was much more than simply known as Newman's wife. She continued acting and remained an important figure in the arts. Woodward also played a major role in Newman's creative life. She offered advice on his projects and supported his decisions while maintaining her own successful career. Their relationship remained a partnership built on both personal and professional respect. Outside of their careers, Newman and Woodward preferred a quieter lifestyle. They spent much of their time at their home in Connecticut, away from Hollywood's constant attention. Newman enjoyed spending time with family, racing friends, and people outside the entertainment industry. Although he was one of the biggest stars in the world, Newman valued privacy and often avoided unnecessary publicity. He wanted to be remembered not only as an actor, but also as a husband, father, businessman, and someone who helped others. But as Newman entered his final years, he would face the biggest challenge of his life and a battle he could not avoid. Final years. As Paul Newman grew older, he continued proving that his talent and passion for acting had not disappeared. Even after decades in Hollywood, he remained interested in challenging roles and continued working in films that allowed him to show his skill as a performer. One of his most celebrated later performances came in The Color of Money, 1986, where Newman returned as Fast Eddie Felson, the character he had first played in The Hustler. His performance earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor, finally giving him the Oscar recognition that many believed he had deserved for years. Newman continued acting into the 1990s, taking on roles that matched his age and experience. In Nobody's Fool, 1994, he played Sully Sullivan, a stubborn but kind-hearted construction worker dealing with personal struggles and complicated relationships. The role received critical praise and earned Newman another Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. However, as time passed, Newman began feeling the effects of aging. After more than 50 years in the film industry, he started stepping away from acting. He was not interested in continuing simply because he was famous. Instead, he wanted to focus on projects that mattered to him and spend more time with his family. By the late 2000s, Newman had officially moved away from acting. He also became less involved in public appearances and interviews. Instead, he devoted more attention to his racing career, charitable work, and his life with Joanne Woodward. During these years, Newman's health began to decline. In 2008, reports revealed that he had been battling lung cancer. The diagnosis surprised many people because Newman had always maintained a private approach to his personal struggles. He did not want his illness to become a public story and preferred to handle his health issues away from the spotlight. On September 26, 2008, Paul Newman passed away at the age of 83 at his home in Connecticut. His death marked the end of a remarkable career that included some of Hollywood's most memorable performances. But for his family, it was the loss of a husband, father, and friend. After his passing, family members and close friends remembered Newman as someone who was much more than a movie star. They spoke about his humor, generosity, determination, and his dedication to the people closest to him. While the world remembered his films, those who knew him personally remembered the man behind the fame. For Joanne Woodward, losing Newman was a deeply painful experience. After spending more than 50 years together, she had lost not only her husband, but also her closest companion. She continued to honor his memory and remained connected to the causes and work they had shared throughout their life together. If you enjoyed learning about the hidden side of Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's lives, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.